After the initial rush of the new year energy, my progress in January has slowed down, but it has been gloriously consistent. I'm on scene 19 of the project I'm currently drafting. I've been exercising and getting more balance than usual, and I feel good. I did have another migraine aura episode. I still don't quite know what to call them, but it was a bit of a difficult weekend and I'm still recovering, but you know, gotta keep moving, you know. Other than drafting, which is so much fun, I'm really loving this project, but other than that, I've been working on a few projects. The first of which is a bit of a side quest. I am attempting to make like character art, illustrations for, I guess more sketches than illustrations of like world building characters, that sort of a thing, just for like inspo pics, because with all the AI art stuff going around and how expensive commissioning stuff is, and you know, I think I'd want to do that for final projects, but just for the process of like working on books, being able to like sketch out characters and scenes would be really cool. So I'm going to talk about that a bit more later, but I want to kind of talk to you about the other kind of writing adjacent things I've been working on too. So the other thing I've been working on is a sort of deep dive into structure, like plot structure and scene structure and all of that. I started working on this like a while ago when I was doing my rewrite, but it's my notes are kind of crazy and I've been trying to figure out what format I want to put them in order to share them like in a video, because it's just like lots of weird drawings right now on my one tablet. So I think I need to maybe draw those out in Photoshop or something so that I can kind of put a graphic in the video that will be a little bit easier to understand, because a lot of it's graphics. So I don't know, I've been playing around with that still and how I want to like, because putting enough together that it sort of clicks in my brain is a little different than putting it all out so that other people can understand what I'm, you know, imagining with it. But yeah, so I'm working on that. And then the last thing I am working on is world building related. So I think last week my latest world building guide video went live, which was ocean circulation, which means I only have 2 more videos right now that I've already prepped that kind of fits into that initial global world building series. And I have a list of topics I want to talk about that are more, I guess, like specific. They wouldn't apply to every world, just more like regional or local ones, or very like just very specific ones. And I kind of had this thought that like, okay, if I start making these videos, I feel like I need to say something first, like have a little intro video to like the playlist or something that's sort of like, okay, like I'm not saying all of this needs to be done all the time. This is more of like pick and choose what will benefit and suit your story and the like what you're trying to do with it, essentially, because you know, you obviously can't do everything and you shouldn't do everything, and I think world building is a lot stronger if there's a few pointed things to kind of latch onto that really aid and benefit the story and the tone and everything like that. Which then led me to like sort of thinking about like, okay, how would I want that to go? What would I want to say? And then I started like thinking about the idea of like, okay, how do you know what's going to be good for your story? How do you know what will like aid and actually provide benefit and isn't just like pointless world building? And I sort of went down this rabbit hole of picking out patterns, because I've sort of realized there's correlations between like the type of plot story you're telling and what type of world building would suit it, right? Because like you're not always going to need to world build a whole world. Sometimes you only need to world build an area or a small place. Sometimes there are certain aspects of world building that are going to aid more than others, just in like the effect they have on the reader. Like not even just like what you have to world build to tell the story, like the really, really basic stuff. Like obviously if you have a heist novel, you need to have like what they're trying to find, what the payout is, like what the obstacles are. You need to have your like found family trope and like build out all these little characters and like why they're all doing it. And like there are like necessary ingredients, right, to the stories we want to write. But how do you know what like aspects would aid in world building beyond that, right? Like just like the little stuff that you mentioned that isn't necessarily required for the plot, but is just like the set dressing. And I've gone down the rabbit hole. Like, I can't even, like, I have so many pages of like notes and diagrams, and I'm almost like making another version of the, oh, what is it? The hierarchy of needs. I can't remember whose it is, but a version of the hierarchy of needs that kind of applies more to the types of like plots and conflicts that characters have. And I'm like picking out all these cool patterns and working this out, and I've been trying to control myself because I keep like just sinking hours into this, and it's like it's one of those things that I almost feel like a little bit obsessed about, like, you know, that like inclination. I don't know, I have inattentive ADHD, so I tend to like hyperfixate on things that I get excited about, and I've been super hyperfixating on this, so I've been trying to control myself and not actually spend that much time on it, but I've been, you know, slowly working on that. I think it'll be really, really cool. So, I don't know. I think I want to make a video on that at some point, but it'll probably end up being like 3 videos or something, so I don't really know, but yeah. But okay. To the side quest. So I want to give a little bit of like disclaimers and context to sort of what I'm trying to do in terms of like art. And then I want to talk about like what I'm doing. I want to show you like what I've been working on so far, because it's like really fun, and like I feel like that's something I can show you more to give you the vibes of what I'm working on, even if I don't want to talk about like the specifics too much to like give things away. So what I'm trying to do is build like character art, sketches of like the actual characters themselves, and have them in some of like the scenes and settings and like some of the world building details, just so I can like really envision it and kind of bring these pieces to life and have like visual inspiration, because I think that's awesome. And I'm gonna do this digitally in Photoshop. I do not know digital illustration. I've been kind of working on this a little bit the last like couple of weeks, but prior to that, I think I tried making a map once, and I got like 4 lines in before I was like, I have no idea how to use Photoshop. It's kind of a lot, there's a bit of a learning curve, but now that I have like an actual tablet that I can draw on, I was like, you know, it would be good for me to learn Photoshop, and this would be a fun way to do it. And then I, of course, you know, super hyper fixated on that, but yes. So disclaimers. I did go to art school in, I guess, elementary, middle, high school, I think. I'm not sure. But I went to art school on Saturdays, and it was like a traditional art school, and it was like going through the whole like sort of more traditional, I guess, art process where, you know, you start with sketching, and then you move on to charcoal, and then you move on to oil pastels, and then oil paints. And, you know, so I have a decent bit of background in like general art stuff, I guess, lighting and shading and proportions and how to like kind of copy things and stuff like that. But oil painting is a very particular beast, and that's what I like love doing the most. Like, I loved oil painting, but I haven't done it in what, like 4 years, 5 years? It's been since I was pregnant with my son. I tried going to an arts class, just like a studio, an open studio, just to sort of get myself into the role of doing it again, because I hadn't done it much since like I was in school, because it just takes up so much space and so much time, and it's just like, it's a lot. It's so time consuming, especially with like the very realistic traditional like oil painting process. It's kind of a lot. So I have actually like 2 of the paintings like right over there. I could probably just get them out, but that I'd been working on, and like I miss it. So that's sort of part of the motivation. But I just wanted to throw in that disclaimer that like I do have like art schooling experience, even though it's pretty casual and was a really, really long time ago. But the fact that this is like digital and like a style, like I'm aiming for a style that I've never ever done before, and it's really difficult, but I've been having fun with it, and I'm really excited to show you. But let me sort of show you like the skills that I'm starting with, because I think that it's kind of the best way to see the contrast between what I sort of know how to do and what I'm trying to do now. Okay, so this is the last thing that I sort of worked on before I stopped. So it's not done, and I kind of did it more informally, but I don't know how well you can see this. But this is essentially a landscape that I was painting from a picture that I took in Scotland on our honeymoon. I think this was in the Outer Hebrides, but I kind of did the initial pass, final pass over the sky. I'd kind of gotten, I think, through details up to, like, right here, I think is where I stopped, and I hadn't, like, finished through here. But, like, very kind of realistic, a lot of, like, there's no line work, right? This is oil painting a realistic picture kind of thing, that kind of style, right? And the way this process works, like, it does lend itself to the idea of digital painting a little bit because oil painting dries really, really slow. I cannot work with acrylics because of how quick they dry, but you can kind of keep blending it together on the canvas, but the problem is like layering. Layering is where it's really different. But something that oil painting does have is the idea of an underpainting. So this is the other painting I have that I sort of declared it done because it took so long and I was like, okay, I'm not going to finish this, so I just kind of declared it done. But this is an almost finished underpainting. So it's a portrait. This is a copy. I can't remember the artist who did the original one. It's a famous artist, but I can't remember which one. But this is what I was doing as like a portrait study. And you paint almost like a sepia sort of, I guess, almost like a grayscale, but like obviously it's like not black. And you do this to kind of get the shapes and the shading right, and then you go back over this entire thing with color. So the idea of doing that, there's some stuff like with layers and digital painting. I don't know. I think you can tell that this style is very, very, very different than like a more cartoony digital illustration style. So not something I have any experience with, and trying to control myself and to not like going over, what do they say, over rendered or whatever is like impossible for me. But I wanted to show you what I've done. So I'm gonna like turn the camera around and kind of show you on my tablet what I've been working on and sort of talk you through it. But I'm really excited. Like, drawing character art is pretty epic, so yeah, let's go. Okay, so this is the first thing I sort of started working on after doing a couple of like online tutorials and styles that ended up not being what I wanted. And it was kind of cool. So you take a picture or whatever reference you want to use, and then I just kind of did this like color blocking, and then I went through and picked out like what colors I wanted to use. I went through and tried out like a lot of brushes to kind of figure out which ones I wanted to use. And then this is sort of where I stopped before doing the detail because I was like, okay, I wanted to make like my main character to go here, and I was going to work on that in a different Photoshop file, and I did do that most of the way. I'll show you that next, but this is like really cool because it's like there's just like different like layers, and you can like, I don't know if you can see like some of these, but like it's just kind of cool, all the layers. And you know, I tried making this more illustrated-y, like you can sort of see a little bit of more blocky shading. Well, I don't actually know how well you can see this, but like I tried to do this in a way that would be quicker, but still, wow, I'm really bad at this. I've now tilted this, and I don't know how to untilt it. Oh, wow, I'm bad. Hold on. Okay, that's close enough. But, like, it didn't quite fit. Like, this style didn't quite fit for me. Like, it's kind of okay. It needs, like, the detail and the actual, like, lighting coming through here, like the fog, but it feels like it has no soul to me. Like, it's just really kind of plain and boring, and it wasn't giving, like, what I wanted really was vibes, right? Like the vibes, the inspiration, and like this wasn't really doing it for me. So let me show you the character portrait that I did. Okay, in my OneNote here I actually took some like progress pictures as I had gone. So this was that initial blocking, and then I did line art, and then I put basic color blocks, started adding like layers. So this is like the back few layers, and then more layers up to in here, and then started to block in the front. I don't know if I took another, no I did. I think this is as far as I got. So you can see there's like a little bit of like texturing and stuff going on here. So then I had the figure drawing. But yeah, okay, so you can see this is for my main character. So this was my initial like sketch after I went through and did the pieces and worked on the form. So you can sort of see like the under sketch of like the anatomy. And then I did all the different articles in different colors. And at this stage, I really, really liked it. Like this just feels really cool to me. And then I started adding like line art in some of the pieces, touched up some of like I touched up the bow and like did the face. And I didn't love the face here. And then I started coloring it. And this is where I got coloring it. This is just doing like blocks of color underneath of the sketch lines. So like you can see it's pretty like simple. But you can, I don't know, it's pretty cool. You can sort of see the outfit style. It's very simple though. There's no detail. There's no like texture to it. And this is sort of the face I had, which I don't know. It's okay. It doesn't look like my character. It looks like an illustrated person. And she looks like northern, I guess, but she doesn't really look like a character that I am specifically like trying to draw. And then this is how far I got. So this is, I went through and added like a little bit of shading and a little bit of detailing to the body. So you can sort of see like a little bit of detailing in the boot, under here on the pants, up through the skirt, the cloak, and you know, the braid's kind of fun. And I think the face is almost identical to what it was before, but like, I like this, right? Like this looks really cool, but it took so much time, and like I can't even tell you how many hours I spent on this, and I probably should just move this over into that other one and try to do the lighting and the fog and stuff and see how it looks, but I don't know. This is just so neat, but without a lot of stylization that gives it any sort of like oomph or soul, if that makes any sense at all. So I don't know, I wasn't loving it. So I went through and, there's a digital artist or, you know, general artist, digital illustrator named Loish. I think that's how you pronounce her name. And so I backed her on Patreon and I started doing a bunch of her tutorials. So let me show you some of the things that I've been sketching out, sort of following her tutorials based off my characters. Let me pull those up. Okay, so I think this is one of the ones where different layers, I did different like sketches. So let's see. So I did some like little form sketches with the tutorial. I did this little kind of pose look. Let's see. I did this one based off this picture. And then I just started doing some like sketches. Oh, I'm gonna show you this one again later. I tried doing that one a little bit more detailed. Let's see. Oh, I was trying to do like something like super sexy. Like this is one of the, like a cute little like romantic like kissing sort of pose. And then I was like trying this one out, and these just feel so much more lifelike to me, like having these sorts of like more sketchy drawings. And I feel like I want to do like this, but obviously with like more detail. Like I'll show you what I mean in a minute, but let me see if I can find the one with the faces. Okay, so I can't find my actual like Photoshop file for this, but so this is the sort of sketch that I did for the faces, trying to do the faces of my different main characters in my current book. So this is the actual like main character up here, and then these are the other two, and these are definitely not great, but they sort of give you the idea of, whoa, what? There we go. They sort of give you an idea of like the character a little bit and like how they look. Like they don't quite match up between the profiles, like it doesn't quite look like the same person, but I feel like you can sort of get the gist and it's a start. So then I used this to try and do a couple of sketches between the main characters. So let me pull that back up. I think that was this one, yeah. So I pulled over my, copied these in here so I could look at them as references. Copied a couple of, like, you know, cute pictures from Pinterest. And then this is the sketch I did of these two characters, like, trying to make it look like the sketches of the other characters I have, and I really like this. I feel like this has so much more soul to it than the other one I did of just her. And I feel like I'd want to touch this up more, like add a bit more detail, maybe add color. But I want to work on this like kind of sketching process before that and sort of really build up this skill. But I feel like this is more what I want. Like I just want like moments. I don't want a ton of details. I don't want to like even render it enough for it to be a proper painting. I just want like these sort of like mood pictures where you can sort of tell it's the character. It's like it says what it needs to say to be inspiration to me. So let's see, what do I have here? Oh, this is a hair tutorial I was trying to do. Did not go very well. I'm not sure I'm gonna add color to the sketches quite yet. Like I'm definitely not good at that. Skills, progress. This is a form sketch that I was working on. And this is the main character again. And I want to add in her like magic once I get to the point where I can add color. And then have one of the beasts here, like she's trying to like shield herself from the beast. And I feel like that would be really cool. So yeah, I feel like this, like if you took this and then like added a bit of color to it, maybe slightly more detail, I feel like that would give me the look I'm going for. And I'm having a lot of fun, and I'm excited about the idea of getting to like share this with you, because I can't like just share everything I'm writing, but this is a way for me to sort of share my story with you a little bit. So yeah, I've been really enjoying that. I have a feeling I already have a lot of footage for this like video vlog. I guess it's more of like an update and a side quest progress update, if anything. But I'm having a lot of fun with this. As you can tell, I'm sort of getting distracted, may not be the right word, but if I show you in my planner what the month looks like so far, you can very much see when I started doing all of these side projects, because my productivity kind of went down. Like you can see that pretty easily. So, you know, right in here. But I'm kind of getting out of that initial like hyperfixation. I haven't done any like sketching on this for a few days. I've been mostly worrying about like writing. I've also been like recovering from this weekend, and we were at the mountains this weekend, so that's been a big not time suck, but like that's what I've been doing. So I don't know, I wanted to give you an update. Did I mention this earlier? I think I did. I'm on scene 19 of my project, which, looking at my Q1 goals, after this one I only want to write 6 more. So I think I'm doing pretty good. I don't know, it's just the year's moving forward. It's going well. I'm excited, but yeah, let me know what you think of all these little like projects I'm working on, and I'd love to know how your year's going. And yeah, I kind of think that's all we're gonna have time for today, so I will talk to you next time.